Good morning, sir. Kanchan, shall I start? Kanchan, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, I'm first going to introduce you. Then you can share your presentation and you can start your session, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So I welcome all the participants for the last day of AICTE FTP on Internet of Things for agriculture applications. Today we have a renowned person from the academics, Dr. K.B. Khanchandani. He is presently working as a professor in Department of Electronics and Telecommunication of Sri Sant Gajanan Maharaj College of Engineering, Shegaon. He has a vast experience of more than 30 years of teaching in academics. He has also have more than 20 years of research. He done his PhD from MNIT Bhopal in the year 2007 in the area of electronics engineering. To his interest, his specialization has digital signal and image processing, then low power VLSI and embedded system design, and from last 10 years, he is also working with the different smart systems and Internet of Things. To his name, more than 150 publications are there with national, international conferences and reputed Scopus and ACI journals. He is also a member of IET and IST and having very good conduction of courses and webinars through these platforms. He has received more than 1 crore of research grants for the research projects from AICTE, TIFR, NCL, Tata Motors and different industries. To his name, there are many awards, just like the International Man of the Year in the year 2001 by International Biographic Center from London. And there are many industrial awards he won to his different research projects and some undergraduate students and postgraduate students. As a excellence in teaching, the Dr. Khanchandani is very famous in the student who is webinars and different research projects. Due to his excellence in teaching, almost 20 years back, he published his one book on power electronics, which is very famous in engineering colleges, which was published by McGraw-Hill in New Delhi. So I do not want to take much more time in the introduction. So because I know you are eager to listen to him. So he is going to deliver a talk on new generation technologies of IoT and AI in the Indian agriculture sector. So I request Dr. K.B. Khanchandani sir to start with this session. Sir, please.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Praveen Wankhede. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Slide visible?
Yes, sir. Your slides are visible.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Wankhede. Thank you, Dr. Wankhede. And very good afternoon to one and all. Myself, Dr. Khanchandani, Professor, Department of Electronics and Telecom Engineering at the host institution, Sri Sant Gajanan Maharaj College of Engineering, Shegaon. From last couple of days, you were listening to so many experts in the field of IoT, and you were listening to so many topics, right from the basics of the IoT to its various application areas, various sensors used, and so many live field applications you are listen to so many experts. Now today I'm here to share with you the concepts of present generation, or you can say the future generation also, future generation technologies, especially Internet of Things and artificial intelligence in Indian agriculture sector. Why I am saying present and future? Because your 5G, suppose 5G, if we say, so in many countries it is presently available, but in so many developing countries and so many developed countries also, 5G is yet not available, and the same is applicable to the artificial intelligence tool, especially in agriculture sector. So here today I will try to share my views related to these technologies in Indian agriculture sector. So the agenda of my today's presentation is, first of all, I will try to introduce you the topic, then brief issues related to agriculture industry in India especially, and the various problems faced by the present day agriculture. Then brief introduction to smart agriculture, because details already have been told by so many eminent speakers in previous sessions, and how IoT and artificial intelligence can be used in agriculture industry. Then the scope of AI, that is especially the artificial intelligence in Indian agriculture, I will share with you. Then the main topic is now the agriculture drone and precision farming. So under this, I will try to share some ideas related to what are the drone technologies which can be used directly in the agriculture, especially Indian agriculture, and what are the various working steps, and what the best drone practices we should follow in our Indian agriculture sector. Then just brief idea or brief knowledge related to what is the current status and future vision of major technological giants like Google, then Intel, Microsoft. What is their current status? How they are trying to develop the agriculture in a complete world, including India also. What is their share and what they are doing right now? Those ideas I will try to share with you. Then some practical portion related to computer vision in drones for crop monitoring, the application of deep learning in crop planting, and what are the brief challenges. Briefly, I will try to share with you the challenges in AI adoption in agriculture, and conclusion, and finally the conclusion. So this is the agenda of my today's presentation. So first of all, I would like to share with you the policy decided by the National Digital Communication Society of India, which was discussed or framed in 2018, where they have recognized the need of enabling of next generation technologies like 5G, IoT, and artificial intelligence. In this policy, they are mainly focused on three missions. They are focused on three core missions, such as connecting India, propel India, secure India with these advanced technologies. Now, in Connect India mission, objective is to create the robust digital communication infrastructures. In Propel India, the Propel India mission, they are focused on enabling the next generation technologies and services through investment, innovation, and IPR generation. Whereas in Secure India mission, they relates to ensuring sovereignty, safety, and security of digital communication. And the main goal of all these three missions is to harness the power of emerging digital technologies, including 5G, artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud, and big data, to enable provisions of future-ready products and services, as well as to catalyze the fourth industrial revolution, that is Industry 4.0, by promoting investment, innovation, and IPR. Now, in my presentation, I will focus on the various related issues to Internet of Things, that is IoT, and artificial intelligence in agriculture sector, because these are the three new innovative ideas which the National Digital Communications have focused in their policy. According to United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO shortly, which is named as, world's population is projected to reach around 9 billion by year 2050, and they have they have realized that by that time the agricultural consumption will also increase by 70%. However, only 4% additional land will be available for cultivation by that time. So food production must increase by 70% by 2050 to meet the requirements of the hunger. Also, with this problem, also the parallel problem is also introduced by the climate change, which affects the seasonal events in the life cycle of the plants and the animals. So these problems can be solved by adopting the new technologies like IoT as well as the artificial intelligence in the agriculture sector. IoT and AI both are the very powerful solutions with which they by using those tools we can the farmers will be enabled to do more with less, and hence they can improve the quality as well as they can ensure faster go to market crops directly. So this is the figure which shows the world population, which will be more than around 9 billion by year 2050. So, and this population growth will be more, especially the contribution in this population will be more from developing countries, especially like India and the China also. And the hunger problems will be also faced by mainly by these two countries by 2050. So definitely, as being an Indian and being an Indian technocrat, we need to focus on these issues, especially how by making the use of IoT, artificial intelligence, we can enhance the production as well as we can increase the quality of the food products in Indian agriculture. Agriculture industry in India is a major contributor to the India's GDP. We all are knowing that, and we also at the same time we also know that India is leading at the top 5 positions in the world for most prominent producer of pulses, milk, rice, wheat, sugarcane, spices, etc. This adds to the economy of the country. The Indian agriculture sector contributes nearly 18% to the India's GDP. Also, it is considered the prime source of livelihood for approximately around 58% of the country's population, especially from rural areas. The Indian agriculture sector, along with forestry and fishing, results in gross added values of around 18.55 lakhs as of 2019. These are the surveys provided by Confederation of Indian Industries just last year. The agriculture sector also expands with parallel industries with the growth rate of around 2.1% during the year 1920. So regardless of Indian agriculture contribution to the GDP, our country is yet to enhance productivity and efficiency in the sector to reach the highest potential. Also, several dimensions and concerns needs to be identified, supported, and equipped with these resolutions. The main problems are the unsuitable methods for monitoring crops, water irrigation using pesticides, and many other necessary farming activities are purely adopted here in India. Resources are also not sufficient, not allotted according to weather conditions, or have not been exploited to their maximum potential. That's the reason why there is often a decline in the return on investment especially to the farmers, and why they are doing the sorry. There's the reason why there is often a decline in the return on investment to the farmers. These problems are granted multiple in the world of technology. The influence of technology in the agriculture sector has been invariably possible since its commencement. Therefore, the government and businesses across the country have recognized the significance of food security and the consequences of environmental degradation, pollution, and water scarcity. The urgency is to overcome certain obstacles arose. In this presentation now, I will try to discuss some issues like IoT, artificial intelligence, how they can change the agriculture landscape, the application of the drone-based image processing techniques for increase of the production and for producing the good quality products, as well as precision farming landscape and the challenges ahead. Now the problems faced by present day agriculture, especially in India. So we all are well familiar with the agriculture because agriculture is mainly done by the rural peoples. So problems are also related to the rural area. So poor farming techniques and agriculture practices is the one of the present day agriculture problem. Also inadequate irrigation facilities are there. Instability in agriculture prices is also there. Regularly the prices are fluctuating, which affects the financial status of the farmers. Absence of crop rotation, decline in agriculture growth rate, increasing malnutrition, shrinking in net cultivable area, increasing environmental pollution, increase in cost of production, low farm income, increase in unemployment, climate change, soil erosion, and biodiversity loss, fulfilling the needs of the customers related to taste and expectations, meet rising demand for more food of higher quality, investment in farm productivity, adopt and learn new technologies, stay resilient against global economic factors, and main problem is to inspire young people to stay in rural areas and become future farmers. So these are the here I have tried to list the maximum parameters related to the problems of present day agriculture in India. Now the key drivers of the technology in agriculture sector. Here in this diagram, my main objective is to discuss the various agriculture parameters which acts as a driving force using the advanced technologies like IoT and artificial intelligence in agriculture sector. In the present scenario, we can see that in agriculture sector, these optimized resources are available. In agriculture sector, optimized resources are available, but the expectations are more from this sector, as shown in this further diagram. So optimized resources are available here in this section. These are all optimized resources are shown, but at the same time, higher yield and higher population, good quality food expectations are there from the optimized resources. Therefore, to solve all these problems and to meet expectations, we need to focus on advanced technologies in agriculture. Means what? We need to automate the agriculture sector by taking the concepts of IoT, artificial intelligence technology, which will definitely deal with all the optimized resources like shortage of labor or manpower, shortage of land, water problems, then spraying of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, then production of good quality food for high population, then to deal with the cash crops, as well as to deal with the direct relevant industry and energy management. So automation has to handle all these resource optimization parameters, as well as the parameters related to higher yields, as well as the climate effects for achieving the best from the agriculture section. Now some brief regarding the smart agriculture. So currently seamless integration of wireless sensors and the IoT in smart agriculture is used. In your previous presentations, you might have seen so many wireless sensor nodes are used in the field, and their data is taken by the IoT approach, and the data gets processed, and accordingly all controlling tasks gets performed, and the objectives are achieved. Defined objectives are achieved. By following these practices of smart agriculture, IoT can help to improve solutions of many traditional farming issues like drought response, yield optimization, land suitability, irrigation, and pest control. Now here I have tried to list the general hierarchy of possible applications, services, and sensors for smart agriculture. So when we used to say smart agriculture, then definitely we need to think of the three issues. The first issue is what type of sensors we need to use, what are the services which needs to be performed, and what are the applications we have to execute in the smart agriculture. So so different applications, just briefly I have mentioned here, which we can execute in smart agriculture are water and nutrition monitoring, disease and bug monitoring, soil monitoring, crop health monitoring, machinery monitoring, control and monitoring both, as well as the control and monitoring of so many environmental parameters. So these may be the probable applications along with many advanced applications depend upon the product and the land and the area and so many other issues. These are the common applications I have listed here. The same way here, common agriculture services I have provided here, like irrigation, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, fertilization, soil preparation, yield condition, yield storage. And to get these services and applications, basic sensors which we need to use are leaf sensors, stem sensors, temperature sensors, humidity sensors, fruit size sensors, and many more depend upon the production of the particular crop and the farming, you can say. So these are the three main issues. If these three are used in any agriculture, then we can call that agriculture as a smart agriculture. Now, just brief about the IoTs and AI in agriculture. We all know that now, especially in European and United States, the IoT has made remarkable progress in many industries, including farming sectors like poultry, fishing, etc. In India also, IoT has made significant growth in so many other sectors, but it's not developed sufficiently in agriculture. But when we talk about agriculture, the communication facilities like base stations or Wi-Fi are very limited, which prevents the growth of the IoT in this sector. So for performing or for having smart agriculture, we need to have the communication facilities like base stations or Wi-Fi. It should be very strong. But we all know that such communication infrastructures and related facilities are very worst in our developing countries and especially in rural areas, which is one of the major hurdles when introducing IoT in the agriculture industry. This is not only a problem; it's the problem related to agriculture. But when we were doing work from home, especially in these particular days, pandemic days, we all have faced this problem related to these communication facilities. So we were not able to perform we were not able to perform our task 100% perfectly, for which we always prefer to do in our regular routine. So communication is the communication infrastructure is the worst problem in our India also. Therefore, the data acquired through these wireless sensors cannot be transmitted in the absence of reliable communication infrastructure. So main thing is what IoT we are saying, but it is only practically feasible or possible to transmit the data from the wireless sensors which are available in the field from field to the desired location for further processing purpose. So for that, communication network needs to be very strong, and this is the great problem we are facing in India. So if we wanted to have a full utilization of the IoT services in agriculture, we need to make our communication setups and communication networks, facilities, infrastructure, all we need to make very strong for improving the growth of the productions in the agriculture. Now, just brief about the concept, that is UAVs. Now, UAVs are basically an unmanned aerial vehicle, means the vehicle which is not driven by the human being, which is automated vehicle driven by the machine itself. So under such situations, when we don't have the strong communication infrastructure, the UAV offers the alternative, because UAV can visit and communicate with the wireless sensors spread over large areas in order to harvest the data for further processing and analysis. Because these UAVs are directly, we need to keep in the particular land, particular area in the agriculture sector, and they can directly communicate with the wireless sensors which carries the information. The another name for these UAVs is known as the drones, which are fitted with high resolution cameras and precise sensors and can be flown over thousands of hectares of the farm. This is the great feature of these drones. So they can be flown over thousands of hectares of the farms within a short duration. The role of surveillance in the agriculture application is highly critical, especially in forestry and crop monitoring, due to the need to cover large areas. Therefore, a fast, low-cost, real-time and large-scale surveillance supported with an accurate data acquisition and transmission facility is crucial for agriculture production. Currently, most Mostly two options are used to obtain aerial images of the field area. We all know that. So one is the satellite. Through satellite, we are getting the images from the field, and through airplanes. Now both are good for a macro view, that is larger view of a landscape, but they face serious issues in terms of quality when it comes to the macro views. These macro views images are not good in resolution and cannot offer the image quality which is required during the analysis and decision making. We all know that all image processing techniques which process the data, they works for the macro images, especially because the resolution is very good, but in macro views, the macro view images, the resolution is very poor, and its image quality is also very poor, so not directly possible to analyze and take not possible to analyze that data from those images and to take the decisions for the production purpose. This is the one of the problem with this satellite and airplanes. Also visiting frequency also matters there. Through both of these, it is because it is not simple to take and collect images frequently. So frequently it is not possible to take the images by these two techniques. In a month you can take around 4 to 5 times only, but this is also not sufficient while designing the system for it. So these are the two main issues related to satellite and airplanes, and especially when we are dealing with macro images. Another major problem with this particular satellite and airplanes is what? We need to operate above the cloud level, where there is a strong possibility that both are obstructed in bad weather. So when weather is bad, then definitely again will be not possible for us to take the images clearly. Again, quality will be very disturbed, resolution will be highly disturbed. Now when we talk about drones or UAVs that provides an eye in the sky, we can overcome or even eliminate the above mentioned issues. So both the problems mainly with the satellite, especially satellite images, can be solved by using the unmanned aerial vehicles, or in short by the drones, because the quality of images which are taken through drones depends on the attached camera resolution, normally dozens of times better than satellite images, and most importantly we can adjust according to application requirements. Means the images taken through these drones, the images are taken through these drones are taken by high resolution cameras, and the quality of these images is very good compared to the satellite images, and we can adjust those according to our all application areas also. The UAVs, that is drones, supports faster and better NDVI to assess crop conditions like wind mapping, leaf assessment, etc., and also provides immediate feedback so that farmers can take timely actions. So UAV supports faster and better NDVI. What is NDVI basically? It is a normalized difference vegetation index. NDVI is UAV supports this NDVI, and NDVI basically is what? The normalized is a normalized difference vegetation index, and it's basically a graphical indicator that can be used to analyze remote sensing measurements. It also helps in differentiating bare soil from grass or forest. It also detects plants under stress, as well as it differentiates between crops and crop stages. So this is a very important aspect in agriculture especially. So this directly drones directly supports faster and better NDVI. Similarly, UAVs are better in terms of frequency, even if requires multiple times in a single day, and are also the option list affected by weather condition unless it is raining. We saw by satellite we can't take the images frequently, but with the help of drone we can take the images frequently also, and also during also the weather conditions are not that much affects the performance of the images, especially if raining, then only it affects. But if there is no rain, only other environmental parameters are available, exceeding parameters are available. At that time only, the drone performance is not affected. Means images are not that much affected. So because of these advantages of the drones over satellite images, images taken by drones over the satellite images, the drones are considered, or UAVs are considered, as the future of precision agriculture, and this is the reason they are generating the highest revenue amongst all agriculture robots developed for precision agriculture, especially in Europe, European countries like Germany mainly, Canada, and other United States and the countries of United States. According to the figures reported by FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization in India in 2018, it is estimated that the agriculture drone related market to be worth around USD 32.4 billion related to the world. So the market is very huge related to drone based services to the agriculture for achieving the desired requirements. So what we discussed there, we discussed about the comparison of the IoT services briefly with the drone services or unmanned aerial vehicle services. Now briefly about the scope of artificial intelligence in agriculture. Now agriculture now already the rapid adoption of AI and machine learning, both in terms of products and in-field farming techniques, is already started. The cognitive computing in particular is the disruptive technology basically in agriculture services, as it can understand, learn, and respond to different situations to increase the efficiency. Now, if we need to provide some solutions as a service like chatbot or other conversational platform to all the farmers, which will help them to keep pace with technological advancement, as well as apply the same in their daily farming to reap the benefits of these services. So we need to, using the AI now, what we can do for the farmers, we can provide them certain chatbots so that they can discuss, they can use those concepts from the discussion with their colleagues, and they can apply that same concept for reaping the benefits of the services. Currently, now Microsoft is working with around 175 farmers in Andhra Pradesh in our India to provide advisory services for sowing, land, fertilizer, and other activities also. This initiative has already resulted in 30% higher yield per hectare on an average compared to last year. So it has proved already, because Microsoft has used the artificial intelligence concepts in around 175 farmers agriculture land, especially in Andhra Pradesh, and they proved there that they can have 30% higher yield per hectare compared to the previous year. So this way we need to have the services of the drones in our agriculture sector. Just photograph here shown. Details we will discuss in our next coming slides. Now, what are the areas where we can use these cognitive solutions? So AI, IoT, and combined services are also known as the cognitive services or cognitive solutions. So we need to, so what we concluded, we need to use the cognitive services. We can combine artificial intelligence, IoT, the complete software packages, the complete hardware which you are understood during the 5-day session, that is Raspberry Pi and other controllers which we can use, various sensors, complete setup required. They all are jointly known as the cognitive solutions. So we have to make the use of all these cognitive solutions for getting all desired benefits. So what are the areas? So first one is growth driven by IoT. So huge volumes of data get generated every day in both structured and unstructured format. This is known. So cognitive IoT solution can sense all this data and provide strong insights to improve the yield. Now here main point is proximity sensing and remote sensing. So these are the two technologies which are primarily used for intelligent data fusion. One use case of this high resolution data is soil testing. So for soil testing, these two techniques are widely used. While remote sensing requires sensors to be built into airborne or satellite systems. whereas proximity sensing requires sensors in contact with soil or at a very close range. So remote sensing, it's known. So sensor needs to be kept in the further system, satellite system. Whereas in proximity sensing, we need to keep the sensors in contact with the soil or in the area close to the land. This helps in soil characterization based on soil below the surface in a particular place. Also, hardware solutions like robots pertaining to corns are already pairing data collection software with robotics to prepare the best fertilizers for growing corns in addition to other activities to maximize the output. The second area we can use our cognitive solutions is image-based insight generation. So, or we can say in precision farming. So, what is precision farming? Precision farming is one of the most discussed area nowadays in agriculture sector. So, drone-based images can help in depth field analysis, crop monitoring, scanning of fields, and so on. So, basically, precision farming is what? Doing the farming activities 100% accurate farming activities, not possible 100%, but from lot of surveys it has been proved in so many lands, agricultural lands, that with the help of all these cognitive solutions, 99% precision farming is possible. Hence, farmers are benefited by this particular by using these cognitive services. So since accuracy is 99% in all the farming activities with the cognitive sectors, then that particular when we utilize all these cognitive services in the farming, then it is known as the precision farming, because everything is highly precise. All the food products are highly precise, timely produced. Secondly, computer vision technology, IoT, and drone data can be combined to ensure rapid action by farmers. Friends, this is the future of our agriculture now, where we need to use computer vision technology along with IoT as well as the drone, means artificial intelligence solutions. That all data achieved through this can be combined for getting the rapid actions by farmers, means for achieving the best from the agriculture. Now, feeds from drone images data can generate alerts in real time also to accelerate precision farming. This is also possible there. Now, companies like Aerialtronics have already implemented IBM Watson IoT platform and the visual recognition APIs in commercial drone for image analysis in real time already in USA. Some areas where computer vision technology can be put to use, briefly I will just tell you. First is in disease detection. So in disease detection, pre-processing is the main task, where image ensures the leaf images are segmented into areas like background, non-disease part, and disease part. So this is the pre-processing part, which needs to be done first. So using the computer vision techniques. So what it will do? It will separate the complete region into three parts, that is background, non-disease part, and disease part. The disease part is then what has been done, then disease part is then cropped and it will send to the remote lab for further diagnosis. It also helps in pest identification, nutrient deficiency recognition, and many other aspects. So this way, the computer vision technology is used for detecting the disease. Secondly, crop readiness identification. Whether the crop is now completely ready for the marketing or not, it is in this area also it is used. So what has been done for that? Images of different crops under UV lights are captured to determine how ripe the green foods are. So if green foods are ready, or if particular products, plants are directly ready, then the images are captured. Then farmers can create different levels of readiness based on the crop fruit category. Means they can decide according to their availability of the transport and other aspects, and they can decide the different levels of readiness, and accordingly they can market their products. Next is the field management. Using high definition images from airborne systems, that is drones or copters, real-time estimates can be made during cultivation period by creating a field map and identifying areas where crops require water, fertilizer, or pesticides. This helps in resource optimization to a use level. Third area is identification of optimal mix for agronomic products. So based on multiple products like soil condition, weather forecast, type of seeds, etc., cognitive solutions make recommendations to farmers on the best choice of crops and hybrid seeds. The recommendation can be further personalized based on the farm's requirement, local conditions, and data about successful farming in the past. External factors like market trends, prices, or consumer needs may also be factored into enable farmers take a well-informed decision. So all marketing issues are also can be informed or will be made available to the farmers by using this computer vision and AI technology. Next is the health monitoring of the crops. So remote sensing techniques along with the hyperspectral imaging and 3D laser scanning, these are essential to build crop matrices across thousands of acres. So these are used for monitoring the health of the crops. So it has the potential to bring in a revolutionary changes in terms of how farmlands are monitored by farmers, both from time and effort perspective. This technology is also used to monitor crops along their entire life cycle, including report generation in case of anomalies. And then lastly, the area is automation techniques in irrigation and enabling farmers. In terms of human intensive processing in farming, irrigation is one such process. Machine trained on historical weather patterns, soil quality, and kind of crops to be grown can automate irrigation and increase overall yield. With close to 70% of world's fresh water being used in irrigation, automation can help farmers better to manage their water problems. This is very severe issue known to we all guys, that world's fresh water nearly 70% is used for irrigation, and already there is a shortage of water in the entire world also. So definitely we need to think, we need to be very serious now related to automation of the agriculture sectors, because with that only we can save the fresh water for drinking purpose. Now the next concept, that is drones part, our started now. So that is unmanned aerial vehicle. So we concluded that unmanned aerial vehicle or drones are better compared to the satellite services or services directly provided by the IoTs now in the agriculture land. So the total addressable market for drone-based solutions across the globe is $127.3 billion, and for agriculture it is at, already I shared with you, that is $32.4 billion. So drone market is not only finding scope in our agriculture, but in rest of the sectors also, like military, defense and military, and other entertainment and so many other applications. Medical, in medical services also drones are used for bringing the heart from one hospital to another hospital, or for severe medical services. These drones are widely used nowadays already. So drone-based solutions in agriculture have a lot of significance in terms of managing adverse weather conditions, productivity gains, precision farming, and yield management. Before the crop cycle, drone can be used to produce a 3D field map of detailed terrain, drainage, soil availability, and irrigation. Nitrogen level management can also be done by drone solutions. So drone can perform every activity which is required in the field. Maximum activities it can perform. Aerial spraying of pods, which is very important, with the seeds and plant nutritions into the soil, provides necessary supplements for plants. This can be also done with the help of the drones. Apart from this also, drones can be programmed to spray liquids by modulating distance from the ground depending on the terrain. Crop monitoring and health assessment remains one of the most significant areas in agriculture to provide drone-based solutions in collaboration with artificial intelligence and computer vision technology. High resolution cameras in drones, what they does, they collect the precision field images which can be passed through convolution neural network to that is CNN, which will identify areas with weeds, which crops needs water, plant stress level in mid-growth stages. Now, in terms of infected plants, by scanning crops in both RGB and near infrared light, it is possible to generate multi-spectral images using drone devices. With this, it is also possible to specify which plants have been infected, including their location in a vast field, to apply remedies instantly. This is the great advantage with the drone, which is not possible directly with other services. Especially when the land size is very big. The multispectral images combine higher spectral images with 3D scanning techniques to define the spatial information systems that is used for acres of land. The temporal component provides the guidance for this entire life cycle of the plant. Many industries are expected to see a growing reliance on drones, especially transport, infrastructure, agriculture, security, etc. Now, this is just the the pic which shows agriculture drone image. Just brief about the precision farming. So we know the phrase that is right place, right time, right product. It sums up the basically the precision farming. Precision farming is what? If everything is performed rightly at a right place at the right time and with the right product, then we can say that particular farming is the precision farming. This is a more accurate and controlled technique that replaces the repetitive and labor intensive part of farming. It also provides guidance about crop rotation, optimum planting and harvesting time, water management, nutrition management, pest attacks, and so on. The key technologies which enables precision farming are, means if we would like to have a precision farming, then we need to work on all these issues. That is, first one is high precision positioning system is designed for it. Automated steering system is designed. Geo mapping is done. Sensor and remote sensing part needs to be included. Integrated electronic communication and variable rate technology are the features of this particular precision farming. Now, what are the goals? Obviously, the goals will be what? Profitability first goal. So identifying crops and market strategically, as well as predicting return on investment based on cost and margin. So because of these issues, high profitability is possible with precision farming. Efficiency, by investing in precision algorithms, better, faster and cheaper farming opportunities can be utilized. So this enables overall accuracy and efficient use of resources. Next is the sustainability. Improved social, environmental, and economic performance ensures incremental improvements each season for all the performance indicators. So these are the goals of the precision farming. So friends, definitely in near future, you will find that the focus will be, direct focus will be on precision farming throughout the world. Now, just one example related to precision farming management. So identify one just example here I'm trying to put here. So suppose we need to identify stress level in a plant. So to identify it, we need to take the images from high resolution cameras and multiple sensors data on the plants. First step. Next is this set of data from multiple sources needs to be used as an input for machine learning to enable data fusion and feature identification for stress recognition. Means we need to identify the stress on the particular plant. Now machine learning model, what it will do? It will train on plant images. It will be trained on plant images and also can be used to recognize stress levels in the plants. So that model will recognize the stress available on the plants. The entire approach can be now the entire approach is now classified in 4 different stages. First one is means what? We have to first the stress, then we need to classify that stress into various categories that we will briefly discuss. Then we need to quantify what is the percentage of stress available, and finally we need to predict to make the better decisions. So the complete precision farming management is done at these 4 levels, that is identification, classification, quantification and prediction to make the better decisions. So this is shown in this diagram. So here you can see in the first picture, that is identification. So here in this first picture we have early bright disease here. In the next we are having a orderly mild disease. Then bacterial spot is there. So according to these 3 different categories, we have identified that there is a disease. Okay. Next we need to classify now. So in terms of stress, so whether stress is there on that or not. So suppose if a fresh plant is there, then we can say there is no stress. So image shows that no stress. Then moderate stress is shown in this figure and high stress is shown in the last. So you can see the difference in the color of the particular plant, you can say, or leaves, you can say. So we need to classify that stress in no stress, moderate and high. That is second stage for training the machine learning algorithms. Next is we know to quantify, means what is the percentage of the stress in the particular leaf. So here in the first case, so here this is around 23% stress is shown over here. Around 47.81% stress is shown in this figure. Around 98.81 . So in this first, it is 23% stress is shown in this particular leaf. Here 47 around percentage stress is shown here. 98 around percentage stress is shown in the last one. So here we have quantified the stress. Now last stage is the prediction. So here the past data is required. What is the past data is required? So on weather as well as stress severity. So this data related to the weather and stress is required for training the or for designing the machine learning model for stress images is required. So based on this now model and the data available, we can predict the early stress on your leaves or on the plant. Now the yield management using AI, briefly we will see again this part, how yield is managed. So the emergence of new age technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, machine learning, satellite imagery and advanced analytics are creating an ecosystem for smart farming. Fusion of all these technologies enabling farmers to achieve higher average yield and better price control. Now here again the example of Microsoft in India. Microsoft is actually managing the yield using artificial intelligence. So Microsoft is currently working with farmers from Andhra Pradesh to provide advisory services, which I already shared with you. But what? Using the Cortana Intelligence Suite. It's a software suite available, is designed by them, including machine learning and Power BI. So they are using their own designed intelligence suite. That is, they named it as a Cortana, along with the machine learning and Power BI features. So with this pilot project, what they achieved, this pilot project uses an AI for what purpose? Sowing app to recommend sowing date, land preparation, soil test based fertilization, farmyard manure application, seed treatment, optimum sowing depth, and more to farmers, which has resulted in 30% increase in average crop yield per hectare. So because of this only advanced use of this artificial intelligence and related services, they were able to provide this much information related to sowing to the farmers, and because of this information only, it was possible for the farmers to get the 30% more increase in their average crop compared to their average crop, that too per hectare compared to the previous year. So from this, it is already proved in India also by this company that we can achieve the best by providing AI services in the agriculture sector. This technology can also be used to identify optimal sowing period, historic climate data, real-time moisture adequacy data from daily rainfall and soil moisture to build predictability and provide inputs to farmers on ideal sowing time. So what is the ideal sowing time? It depends on so many aspects, and that all features which are required by the farmers, they will be accurately provided by by this artificial intelligence services. To identify potential pest attacks, this is another feature. To identify the pest attacks, Microsoft, in collaboration with United Phosphorus Limited, Indian company, they have built a pest risk prediction API that leverages artificial intelligence and machine learning to indicate in advance the risk of pest attacks. So in advance, because of the use of these two, services, it was possible to inform the risk of pest attacks to the farmers. So based on weather condition and crop growth stage, pest attacks are predicted as high, medium or low. So this information is very useful, and because of this, they can save their money, their product, and can produce the good quality foods. Just one slide here I provided here to show you how robotics or drones or any automation product helps in digital farming basically. So here you can see, here we are having some mobile field robots and sensors here. Initially we need to have. Then after this, the data needs to be provided to the multiple spectral camera and the laser scanner cameras. Then measurement of plant geometry and non-visible radiation bands is required. Then all this needs to be provided to computer vision and machine learning algorithms here. Then based on this, the further engine recommendation is done and decision support system will be designed, and from that then pruning fruits, thinning leaves, soil water level, all required parameters gets to be designed. So all are the and all this results in your precision farming, higher yield, better quality, and less resources. So to get this all advantages, that is precision farming along with higher yield with better quality and less resources, we need to focus on this your drone services basically. Now, importance of drone technology in Indian agriculture and farming. Why to adopt agriculture drones? So a lot of features I already discussed with you. Now more features I have highlighted here related to drone technology. So drone technology has got almost most of the recognition in the industry because of its diversity and considered the future of the agrarian community. But this is in your already developed countries, yet not 100% in India. But it is also equally true that on April 16th, on 16th April 2020, a list of startups related to drones were published, and you will be glad to know that in India also around 134 startups have been started related to drones, which are providing drone services. Now sectors are different. Some startups, they are providing their services to the military, some are providing to agriculture, some are providing to medical, and many more. Some are providing many also. But this scenario or these activities have already started, and especially in the regions of Karnataka, Kerala, you will find more startups related to agriculture drones. With the market of agriculture drones reaching already $1.3 billion, these drones fills the gap of human error and inefficiency by traditional farming methods. This is the great in one line meaning of drone services. They avoid all the errors, man-made errors, and the problems or the problems faced by the farmer due to traditional farming methods. Both are totally eliminated by drone services. The purpose of adopting drone technology is to exclude any guesswork or ambiguity and instead focus on accurate and reliable information. External factors like weather, soil conditions, and temperature play a critical role in farming. Agriculture drone empowers the farmers to adapt to specific environments and make mindful choices accordingly. The gain data helps regulate crop health, crop treatment, crop scouting, irrigation, and carry out field soil analysis and crop damage assessment. So friends, what is crop scouting? This term you will listen every time when you will deal with the agriculture. I mean, if you decide to work in agriculture sector using artificial intelligence or any other technology also. So what is the crop scouting? It's the process of precisely assessing pest pressure, typically insects, and crop performance to evaluate economic risk from pest infestations and disease, as well as to determine the potential effectiveness of pest and disease control interventions. So this is the concept basically related to process of precisely assessing pest pressure. Means it controls or it defines the issues related to pest disease. Okay, the drone survey helps boost crop yields and minimize time and expenses. Drone technology equipped with AI, machine learning, and remote sensing features are rising in demand because of its so many advantages. Drone startups in India, I already shared with you, have used this opportunity to accomplish better technology capacities. Some of the startups here I have listed: Arrow Unmanned Systems, Martin Way Corporation, Cron Systems, Aerial Photo, Detect Technology, Drone Tech, Aero 360, Ideal Forge. So around 134 drone startups are there in India up to 16th April 2020. Now drones for agriculture. What type of drones we need to use? So in agriculture, so here we need to use basically two types of drones for agriculture, depend upon our land. One is fixed wing drones or multi-rotor drones. Both are available in various ranges in terms of cost, payload capacity, and mostly they can be distinguished based on hardware differences. For example, when it is required to cover a large area, fixed wing drones are suggested due to their long range fight capacity Most importantly, they are crash tolerant. Example, SenseFly, EBSQ, and Data. So these are the drones which are widely used for large area. So fixed. So for large area, if the land area is more, fixed wing drones are suggested. Here you can see in the first two upper photos, fixed wings are shown here. So when land area is more normally, we need to go for fixed wings. Now when the land area is somewhat shorted, we need to think of the multi-rotor. This is the general aspects related to this one. This can be relaxed, depend upon other issues also. Scenarios where low altitude flight is required in order to capture extremely detailed images, which is more common in agriculture applications, then the multi-rotor are considered the better choice. So depend upon our requirement, availability of the land, we need to go for the particular type. Some major examples belongs to this multi-rotor are DJI Matrice 200 and Scout by American Robotics, which considered a fully autonomous drone for daily agriculture scouting. Drones collect information through the light reflected by the ground it is maneuvering over, either from soil or plants. So from this soil or plant, they collect the information. Specific cameras and sensors are used depending on the grower's interest. Most commonly mentioned are thermal and hyperspectral. So thermal and hyperspectral are the special cameras which needs to be mounted on the drones for this further for collecting the information from the agriculture land. Thermal sensors can help to recognize the water quantity as leaves of plants with more water access appear cooler in an image. The same phenomena is used in near infrared NIR sensors, commonly used to note the difference between the NIR reflectance and the visible reflectance, such as NDVI. I already shared with you about the NDI. Now, what is NIR sensor? That is, they are termed as near infrared reflectance sensor. And near infrared reflectance spectroscopy is a method which makes use of the near infrared region of the electromagnetic spectrum from about 700 to 2500 nanometers. NIR converts basically measured data into actionable information to help optimize the process or improve research. So for optimization purpose and for improving the research, these NIR are used for converting the measured data into accessible information. The resultant NDVI-based images helps to distinguish the water stress areas, which now I will show you in the next slide. Hyperspectral based sensors or cameras records the wavelength of both visible and invisible lights. They are able to identify the specific type of plant by measuring the color of the reflected light. This reflected light is used to distinguish various plant types, ultimately helping to detect the unwanted hyperbicides and weeds. So this way, these cameras performs the particular role for collecting the information. Now here NDVI based water stress map of 160 acre walnut orchard is shown over here, and from this you can see the results are shown as soil, high stress, mild stress, well watered. So this is shown, and this can be this data can be separated based on the NIR sensors. Due to their nature and flexibility, UAVs or drones are being used in a range of agriculture applications, including crop health monitoring, planting, plant counting, spraying, agriculture photography, and many other variable rate applications. After being equipped with automation and GPS capabilities, they are ready to take the agriculture sector to a further modernized level. With every passing day, drones are becoming more inexpensive and reliable, hence making themselves an ideal choice for new farming applications. How does drone technology now works? So basically this drone includes navigation system, GPS, multiple sensors, high quality cameras, programmable controllers, and tools for autonomous drones. This is the requirement of any drones complete system for agriculture purpose. The DJI is most popular one such familiar drone utilized by this agriculture sector. Most farmers currently use satellite imagery as an introductory guide for farm management. Furnished with modern technology, drones can get more precise data than satellite for precision agriculture. Then they process that data captured into agri-tech software to produce beneficial knowledge. Now, capturing data from agriculture drone takes place in the following stages. So after how basically this data gets captured. So in different stages it is done. First of all, analyzing the area. This step identifies the territory being tested. Therefore, the first step includes establishing a boundary, analysis of the area, and then finally uploading the technical GPS information into the drone's navigation system. So these operations are done in the first step while analyzing the area. That is, first of all, it has to identify the boundary, then it has to analyze the area, then finally it has to upload the technical GPS information into the drone's navigation system. So using autonomous drones, so since drones are independent, they enter flight patterns into their already established system to collect required data. Now once the data is collected, then it needs to be uploaded. So next step is uploading the data. So after capturing all the required data through sensors such as multispectral sensor, RGB sensor, it is processed through numerous softwares. So different softwares are required for computational purpose for further analysis and interpretation, and then it is uploaded. Now finally the output. So after collecting the data, they format it so that farmers can understand the data with no hassle, bringing them a step closer to precision farming. So this is the output directly then available to the farmer in the language which is understood by them. Then 3D mapping or photogrammetry are popular methods to display extensive data collected. So presently photogrammetry method is widely used, which displays extensive data collected. So what basically it is photogrammetry? It is the use of photography in surveying and mapping. It is used to measure distances between objects, and photogrammetry images to create 3D renderings. Now, what are the best drone practices right now followed? So, drone technology quickly reestablished traditional agrarian practices and is usually accomplished them as follows. First, say irrigation monitoring. So, drones are widely used for irrigation monitoring. Drones, including hyperspectral, thermal, or multispectral sensors, recognize areas that are too dry or need improvement by the farmer. Drone survey helps improve water efficiency and disclose potential pooling leaks in irrigation by providing irrigation monitoring yields, calculation of the vegetation index to help realize the health of the crops and immediate heat energy. So in all, irrigation tasks which is manually performed can be done with more precise can be done more precisely by drone services. Crop health monitoring and surveillance, the second application. It is crucial to track the health of the vegetation and spot bacterial fungal plagues in the early stages. Because if it is done in early stages, then the further crop can be saved. So agriculture drones can see which plant reflects different amounts of green light and near infrared spectroscopy light. This data helps produces multispectral images to track crop health. Quick monitoring and discovery of any defect can help save crops. In circumstances of crop failure, the farmer can also document the damages for accurate insurance claims. So, because of this drone service for monitoring the health, the farmers will get the accurate data in terms of damages in their agriculture, and that data they can utilize for claiming the insurance. Next, crop damage assessment. Agriculture drones fitted along with multispectral sensors and RGB sensors also detect field areas inflicted by weeds, infections, and pests. According to this data, the exact amount of chemicals needed to fight these infestations are known, and this helps diminish the cost inflicted by the farmer. So this is shown here. So here you can see here in this yellowish area minus 10% is shown here. So this data will help in to file the insurance for this further drain for this damage. Here also you can see minus 50% here. So minus 50% means damage here. Here you can see plus 20%, plus 30, plus 40. So this is okay. So drone helps the farmers in this way also. Field soil analysis. So analysis of the field soil. is the best drone application area. So the drone survey allows farmers to obtain information about their land soil conditions. Multi-spectral sensors allow sizing data useful for seed planting patterns through field soil analysis, irrigation, and nitrogen level management. Precise photogrammetry or 3D mapping permits farmers to analyze their soil conditions thoroughly. Next application, planting. Drone startups in India have invented drone planting systems that allow drones to shoot pods, their seeds, and crucial nutrients into the soil. This technology does not only reduce cost by almost 85%, but also increases consistency and efficiency. This is the best part of the drone services. Here, not only we are reducing the cost of planting, but also we increase the consistency and efficiency of the product generation of the products. Next is agriculture spraying. Through drone crops spraying, human contact with such harmful chemicals is limited. We all know that when they are used for spraying purpose, spraying the pesticides in the land, it is dangerous, very dangerous, because basically it is the harmful chemical. So this problem can be solved by these drone services. So agri drones can carry out this task much quicker than vehicles and airplanes also. Drones with RGB sensors and multispectral sensors can precisely identify and treat problematic areas. Professionals say that aerial spraying is 5 times faster with drones when compared to other methods. So this is the service shown here. So for spraying purpose also, we can use the drone service. Also, the one more advantage we can get with this spraying also, when we are spraying the pesticides in the nearby plants, we all know that mowing is manually done nowadays, and because of that, when we do spraying of the pesticides also, the growth rate is the growth rate is not same, as well as the quality of every product, you can say, produce is also not same. So finishing quality is not good. In short, I wanted to share with you by using the traditional methods. Now that can be solved by using the that problem can be solved by using these drone services for spraying pesticides in the agriculture, because with this we can provide the similar amount of pesticides or khad, what we can say in short, to the nearby seeds, we can say, so that good quality products can be produced and can be exported also, and then farmers can make more money, and they will never go for suicide. Livestock tracking is the another application part of the drones. The drone survey allows the farmers not to keep track of their crops only, but also monitor the movements of their cattle. This is a very, again, essential part. So they can keep the track of their cattle also. Thermal sensor technology helps find lost animals also and detect an injury or sickness also. So animal protection of animals will be also there in the agriculture land with the help of these drones simultaneously. Drone can carry out this function favorably, and this adds comprehensively to the production of vegetation. Now, benefits of drone technology, I will not go to the details, one line just I will read. It will enhance the production. Second, effective and adaptive techniques, greater safety of farmers, 10 times faster data for quick decision making. So decision making can be faster with this, and hence it affects the performance. Less wastage of resources. So next, 99% accuracy rate. This is the great advantage of providing or using the drone services in agriculture. Useful for insurance claims, evidence for insurance companies. Then this is the main again advantage, that is locust swarm. We all know that locust swarms are known to feed on crops, trees, and other types of plants. This feeding can destroy crop planted, causing famine and deprivation in societies that solely rely on these crops for survival. We all know that in recent times, swarms of locusts have invaded several areas in India, especially in Rajasthan. So with nearly 90,000 hectares of land affected across 20 districts, these growing swarms are threatening to amplify into an agrarian disaster. So most nations battling locust swarms rely significantly on organophosphate chemicals, and these are utilized in little concentrated lots by vehicle mounted and aerial sprayers. Rajasthan has stationed drones to carry out the spraying efficiently. Drones can diffuse pesticides on approximately 2.5 acres in merely 15 minutes. So using drones to combat the locust swarm is an immediate, secure, and practical approach. So great support of the drones to the human beings or the farmers. So this is the picture which shows locust swarm in the agriculture land. Now brief about the current status and future vision of major technological giants regarding the IoT, artificial intelligence in agriculture industry. So friends, here I am providing this data related to the various organizations and what the initiatives and vision they had for agriculture, not only in India but worldwide also. For example, you can see here first organization I have mentioned is Microsoft. So what Microsoft has done, they have begun investing in smart agriculture. This company has launched a 5-year around $50 million initiative in 2018, and they have named it as Artificial Intelligence for Earth. In this program, Microsoft targets 4 critical areas for building a suitable future: climate, apiculture, biodiversity, and water. According to the company's DNA, the basic purpose of this move is to leverage their expertise in cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and IoT to solve agriculture problems. FarmBeats is their main project. This is going on right now in USA. FarmBeats is their main project, and it aims to provide unique solutions to democratizing artificial intelligence services for farmers around the world now. So they are thinking, just I given you one example at our Andhra also. So they are now, Microsoft is now focusing on the complete world to provide the better services which depends on artificial intelligence and IoT to improve the life of the farmers and to produce the more foods for human beings. Next one is the Google. Google also work on the various platforms, various issues, and worldwide they are also working, and their expertise is mainly on phenotyping agriculture. So not possible to cover all the aspects, so just brief I given to you. Next one is Watson IBM. This is again, we all know Watson Decision is an AI based service which is used in so many sectors, and here in agriculture platform it aims to improve harvest, sustainability, and quality of smart agriculture using modern technology and IoT. IBM leverages its experience, data, and AI services to help the farmers make better decisions throughout the crop stages. We all know that IBM is a major player right now in data analytics and data science. So they use that knowledge in agriculture sector. For again, objective is same, to make the life of the farmer better and to produce the more food and crops for the human beings. Next one is the Intel. Intel has launched their platform. They named it as InfiSwitch for the agriculture purpose, and they also achieved their targets, and they also started their services worldwide. All these companies, they are now focusing on complete world, because we know by 2050 the food requirement is very large. So to meet those hunger requirements, everyone is now responsible. All industries are responsible, and they are working in that direction also. Now Jasper, Cisco, and Dell, these are the next companies. Jasper is a part of Cisco. We all know that Cisco is the major player in networking, especially. So, and both are jointly utilizing their data analytics knowledge in the agriculture sector for achieving the best there also. Next, Dell is also there, which also works on agriculture robots and machine equipped with latest machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities. So they are also working, and they are utilizing the concepts of IoT as well as artificial intelligence. And the great advantage they achieved is what? They utilize less 95% water in aero farms. So aero farms basically is a farm where you can say the services available to them by which they have achieved less 95% water requirement in the land. So this is the great advantage of AI IoT services used by Dell in the agriculture sector. Then HPE and Hello Tractors. These are again the very big other two big companies which are working in the same direction and uses the same knowledge for getting for improving the health of the farmers as well as the health of the countries, and fulfills the objectives of the agriculture. Next, Qualcomm. We all know that Qualcomm is a major player, because we all know that in our all mobiles we are the processor, so which is mainly designed by Qualcomm. So it's a major main venture actually, a big company, and here now they are also now jump to this agriculture sector also, and they also work in this area, and they have invested a huge amount, say $15 million in the one startup, which is known as the AgTech. And there they are now working on the concepts of data analytics, computer vision, and AI services. And by utilizing this knowledge, they supports the farmers and the agriculture business. Then Farm 2050. This is again this is the company which have kept one point in their mind for before providing the services. Like they are now working in the direction of how to increase the 70% food production to fulfill the food requirements of 10 billion human beings by 2050. So as I already shared with you, only solution is the use of this cognitive techniques for generating more and quality foods. So this company is also working in this particular direction for this purpose. So they had so many joint ventures with Microsoft, Google, and many more companies also. Now, next part of my presentation, briefly I will tell you now computer vision in precision agriculture and farming. I told you already, computer vision is the best area, because with this we can take the images and we can process more accurately using this field. So agriculture, the food generating sector, is one of the leading occupations among the people in rural areas, lacks due to underdeveloped methodologies or use of outdated know-how. But now AI in agriculture is boosting this sector using the power computer vision technology to train the machines for better productivity in agro and farming. In agriculture, AI and robotics can help to perform various tasks like planting, weeding, harvesting, and plant health detection. Such robots can detect plants, weeds, fruits, or vegetables with the power of analyzing the health conditions and fructify levels to determine the harvesting time with the reaping capabilities of such crops. So here it is shown, this particular picture. To train the computer vision based AI model, annotated data in the format of images or pictures are used to make the subject or object of interest recognizable to machine through machine learning algorithms for similar predictions. To detect the crop, fruits, and vegetables, bounding box annotation is used to make this plant recognizable to machine. These are the concepts used in computer vision technique for recognition purpose. Bounding box annotation can be used by AI companies to detect the plant, check the fructification level, and recognize the unwanted plants or weeds. Bounding box annotation provides the right inputs to computer vision for plant detection. Now, computer vision in drones for crop monitoring. This is the best application of this computer vision. So drones are playing a crucial role in precise agriculture and farming. While flying in the midair, this autonomous flying object can capture a huge amount of data through a camera installed for computer vision detection and training. AI-enabled drones can get the aerial view of the entire field or cultivated ground and create a 3D map imagery that can be viewed on a computer screen from distance to monitor the health of crops or check soil conditions through geosensing and visual sensing. So this is shown over here. Deep learning now in crop planting. We all know that now deep learning is the very advanced advanced area in artificial intelligence. So crop planting is the most important part of agriculture. Crop planting is closely related to addressing population hunger problems. Compared to traditional machine learning methods, deep learning is about deeper neural networks, which provides a hierarchical representation of the data. Means hierarchical representation of data is done in this particular deep learning process. So deep learning has been widely used in many fields such as computer vision, natural language processing, automatic speech recognition, etc. Deep learning application in crop planting indicates the large potential. The common deep learning architecture includes, we all know that, convolutional neural networks, in short CNN, deep belief network, that is DBN, recurrent neural networks, that is RNN. CNN is typical supervised learning model with a strong adaptability, which is often used to process the image data. Here now in the figure we will see we will try to classify the paste types from the filled images. So here filled image is available to us. Now our objective is to classify the paste types. What are the paste types available in the particular this image? So for this, now we can make a use of typical CNN structure. So we all know that CNN can be CNN structure can be developed using mainly the three steps. One is construction of the convolution layers. Second is the pooling layers, and jointly then they are used as an input for the fully connected your layers. And here now we have to use one classifier. So three main stages are used in your typical CNN structure. So convolution layer, pooling layer, fully connected layer, and classifier. We have to design all these three structures for the incoming input, that is the image taken here by the camera. And the classifier, finally we have to design the structure. We need to set the weightages and all activity functions and all design aspects we need to fulfill. And finally, with the help of the classifier, we can come across the identification, whether it's a cockroach, whether it's a mosquito, whether it is a beetle, whether it's a bed bug, and likewise other pests. So deep learning, with the help of this deep learning, classification of this pest is very accurately done. Now here in this diagram, CNN architecture mechanism is shown for image classification, object detection, semantic, and instant segmentation. So here you can see here the first stage is your image classification. So here image is there, input image is there here. Now we need to classify it, whether it is healthy or any problem is there. So for that, now we have developed the CNN structure here. So operations needs to be done are the convolution or deconvolution, pooling, activation, batch normalization. These are the operations which we need to carry out here. Then connection schemes, stack scheme, inception scheme, then skip scheme. So depend upon the expertise, knowledge, and the requirements, we need to go for the operations as well as the schemes. Now they are connected to fully connected layers. Then we need to use the classifier, and finally, based after this, we are getting whether the plant is healthy. If it is healthy, then how much percentage? If it is, then whether any stress is there on the plant. Then what about its rate? Then whether weed is there or not. So classification results can be generated by from the given input image in the first step. So that is image classification by using the CNN. Now next is the object detection. So the same way here, now input image is available to us, and from this now we can detect the object. We can detect the results also in the particular plant. So here it is done at two levels. Can be done in two different ways. One is one stage CNN meta architecture level, and second is two stage CNN meta architecture level. Here you can see in one stage we are having only one stage of the architecture, that is initially we need to use the CNN, then feature map, then grid based localization, then classification and bounding boxes. Okay, and here in two stage CNN meta architecture, so here we are having this control structure where we are using regional proposals also, and here you can see we are having two additional control boxes. One is for bounding box regression is required, along with parallelly we have to have a classification point. So based on these two architectures, then we can detect the results in the particular plant. What is the result in the particular plant? See here it is 0.98. It is shown here. Now third is your segmentation. Now instant segmentation. So here again we are having an input image, and this segmentation can be done again by two different approaches. One is detection based CNN meta architecture, and second encoder decoder based model. So depend upon the requirement and the accuracy, we have to go for the particular selection criteria of the particular model. So here you can see in the encoder decoder model, encoding phase and decoding phase is the primary stage of process, and then it needs to be and after doing this decoding operation, the data is sent to for post processing using the particular post processing technique depend upon the expertise knowledge. And in the second structure, that is detection based CNN meta architecture, CNN feature map and regional proposal, these three steps are carried out parallelly, and then whole data gets transmitted to the three stage boxes, that is classifier, bounding box regressor, masking. So these three operations needs to be performed on the incoming data, and accordingly the segmentation results get generated. So this is the use of your CNN architecture. You can see for performing various tasks like classification, detection, and segmentation. Next, the typical RNA structure we can also use for the same purpose. We all know that it is a serial structure. So for RNN, a very important concept is the moment. The RNN will give an output for each moments input combined with the state of the current model. So RNN can be used under this particular situation also. So DBN consists of separate restricted Boltzmann machines layers which can be used for classification and generation data as. An autoencoder is a neural network that reproduces the input signal as much as possible. These basic architectures have appeared many variants to meet different demands of different fields. So depend upon our the type of the field, the type of the plant, type of the action needs to carry out, type of based on the results which we need to get generated, we need to think of the particular architecture and the particular topology also. We can individually use or we can use jointly also, depend upon the expertise knowledge also. So now here in this figure, I will try to show you. So first of all, the RNN architecture also. So here you can see it's a particular sequential architecture which is used for all these operations which we are shown with the help of your CNN. Now here I am trying to show you the percentage of share of these all deep learning methods in crop planting especially. So here you can see this blue area is CNN which is 80%. So broadly CNN is used for this deep learning methods in widely used. CNN is the widely used deep learning method in crop planting. Others you can see here RNN 5%, AE 5%, and other means joint operations can be 10%. So this is the share of deep learning methods in the field of crop planting. Now here commonly used open source learning frameworks which are Theano, TensorFlow, Caffe, Keras, MaxNet. These are used. And what are the core languages used? Here shown. So here from this complete table you can get the idea which framework we need to use and core language, what features we can generate and what benefits we can generate and what are the drawbacks of the particular framework. So depend upon our application requirement, we have to think of the framework, the language, the features and benefits. With the explosive growth of this data, deep learning has become a hot research direction of artificial intelligence. Deep learning improves performance a lot on many issues compared to traditional machine learning algorithms. There are some problems with deep learning. What they are basically, this is main problem: black box problem, data volume problem, and selection problem of appropriate architecture. So if the engineer is having the detailed expertise by which he can solve these problems, then he can definitely generate the 99% accurate agriculture results. Crop disease, crop genotyping, crop breeding, crop planning, and crop yield estimation based on deep learning algorithms still is the need. These all aspects needs more research in the future. Because most of the researches are based on image processing, so many algorithms choose convolutional neural networks presently. But as the field grows, then definitely one will think of the other structures also. The results shows that deep learning has achieved better results than traditional machine learning in most fields presently. Now, challenges in AI adoption in agriculture. What are the challenges? So artificial intelligence offers vast opportunities for application in agriculture that we saw, but still it exists a lack of familiarity with high-tech machine learning solutions in farms across most part of the world. The exposure of farming to external factors like weather conditions, soil conditions, and presence of pests is there. So because of these two main problems and also other challenges like AI system also needs a lot of data to train machines and to make precise predictions. In case of vast agriculture land, though spatial data can be gathered easily, temporal data is hard to get. So for example, most of the crop specific data can be obtained only once in a year when the crops are growing. So since the data infrastructure takes time to mature, it requires a significant amount of time to build a robust machine learning model. This is one reason why AI seems a lot of use in agronomic products such as seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and so on, rather than in-field precision solutions. Now here shortly I tried to provide you what the hurdles what presently the hurdles are faced in technology implementation for smart agriculture. So we all know that untrained manpower presently, fear of new technology, high investment, convergence and connectivity, fragmented market, standard infancy. So these are the factors presently which affects the use of direct implementation of this technology for smart agriculture. So as the time will progress and people will be more aware about this technology, definitely we will have a more and more AI based agriculture in our India also. Now the conclusion: the future of farming depends largely on adoption of cognitive solutions. So if we want to produce more from the small land to fulfill the world requirement, definitely we have to adopt this complete technologies. While large scale research is still in progress and some applications are already available in the market, the industry is still highly underserved. So a lot of development are required, and that's why government is also government is also focusing on these technologies for improving the growth in India also. When it comes to handling realistic challenges faced by farmers and using autonomous decisions making and predictive solutions to solve them, farming is still at a nascent stage. We all know that. So in order to explore the enormous scope of artificial intelligence in agriculture, application needs to be more robust. Only then will it be able to handle frequent changes in external conditions, facilitate real-time decision making, and make use of appropriate framework platforms for collecting contextual data in the efficient manner. Another important aspect is the exorbitant cost of different cognitive solutions available in the market for farming. So these are the initial days of the development. So definitely cost will be changing for these cognitive solutions. So definitely, this problem is the time being problems, which will be solved as the time passes. The solution needs to become more affordable to ensure the technology reaches the masses. An open source platform would make the solutions more affordable, resulting in rapid adoption and higher penetration among the farmers. This is important. So if an open source platforms are available, which will make the solution more affordable, it will then definitely result in rapid adoption of this technology and more penetration among the farmers. Means every higher penetration among the farmers, everyone will go for adoption of the cognitive techniques in the agriculture. So this is the conclusion of this presentation, and this is the list of the references of the presentation. So here I complete my presentation. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, your questions are most welcome. Dr. Wankade.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I request all the participants, if you have any queries, they can either raise their hand or they can put their query in the chat box. I request all the participants, if you have any query, they can either raise the hand or put their query in the chat box. Or you can also write your query in WhatsApp. Sir, I got some of the queries in the chat box. Shall I ask now?
Yes, okay. You can proceed.
Sir, is there a possibility to get the different funds from these mentioned companies in your presentation for some agriculture projects?
Yeah. Not to go for the other companies in India now. In India, we got so many agencies or companies, you can say, which provides now funds. Recently, one company at Mumbai, known as Wadhwani Groups, is a very big company. And the role of this company is they facilitates all the requirements for development of cognitive based solutions for agriculture especially. Also they recruits those peoples also. So yes, funds are possible directly from so many industries. Also those who are students, they might be knowing very recently government of India has launched one competition also, project competition also. So, and the main theme was to start these startups. And the main area they have mentioned there was the agriculture. So they are providing the platforms where if you submit your idea and if that idea gets approved, then they are providing you the funds for development of the prototype. And once the prototype is approved by the concerned organizations, Government of India organizations, then you will be getting funds for starting your startup also. So many avenues are available, so many resources are available from which you can get the funds.
Thank you, sir. There is one question asked by one of the participants that even though there is a lack of money in most of the Indian farmers, and also there is a lack of knowledge of the technology, how the drones and UAVs will help the farmers?
So your question is, I think, related to lack of knowledge and money. Okay. So
Yes.
see, one issue is related to money first. So I told you, like so many agriculture policies, government have already started the policies. As in the very first slide, I told you, the national digital communication agenda of this government, which they framed in 2018. It was based on 3 different missions, and to fulfill those missions, they suggested to make a use of all these cognitive solutions. So see, already a lot of schemes are available from the government, also from the banks, also nationalized banks. Now you will get the funds for for purchasing those solutions now. First point. So farmer will like every time farmer is not farmers are not doing their all agriculture services by their own money. They are getting the funds from the bank or any other agencies also. The same way, these things are available. These things will be available now. Drone-based services is in initial phase now. Already, but they are in the good, middle stage in Karnataka and Kerala. But as far as our Maharashtra or Vidarbha is concerned, this area is not yet started, we can say. But as this will get progress, definitely schemes will be get finalized. Right now, central government is having the schemes for the farmers, but state governments yet are not for finalize their schemes. But when this technology will grown up, and when so many companies or startups will be there in our Vidarbha region or in Maharashtra, and then definitely government has to come forward for framing such policies for the farmers. So based on those policies, they can go for this particular purchase of this drone-based services. See, there is one more provision. You don't need to purchase the drone-based solutions directly. There is one service sector also from the government and private agencies also. In Kerala, it has been started. In Karnataka, it has been started. What these private agencies are doing, they are doing the business through that drone-based solutions. Means they are providing the required drone-based services to the concerned farmer on payment basis. Means per acre, or depend upon the time requirement, and for how many days they need the services of the drone, and accordingly farmer needs to pay to the agencies. So that is the one way where the investment is very minimum. And first point, like in traditional farming also, those who don't have tractors in their land, and if they want it, they are taking on what we can say daily wages or weekly basis from the second person. They are purchasing, they are not going for the purchase. The same way the governments as well as private sectors have started those services. So this will solve the money based issues. Second is the knowledge. So if suppose this study which I presented to you, like Microsoft at your Andhra Pradesh, they are utilized those concepts of cognitive, like that is IoT and other based services, and with that they came to generate more 30% yield per hectare. So if this and hence farmer were benefited, 175 farmers were benefited. They got more money in shorter duration. So if this concept news is spreaded, or if it is available to the farmers, then definitely everyone will come up and will definitely think of working or doing the farming based on these cognitive solutions. So definitely all these problems will get resolved. That is money and knowledge base. Is just the issue of timing only. Dr.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let me check whether there is any query from participant. Yeah, so we don't have any queries from the participants. So thank you, sir, for giving much more insights of how the future technologies are going to help the farmers and how the researchers and the academicians like us can also select these future technologies for development of these IoT solutions for agriculture. So from the organizing team, uh, thank you, sir, for this session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you to all the listeners. Thank you.
The next session will start at 3 p.m. So there will be a break of now 10 minutes and then we'll start at 3 p.m.